guys don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also click the bell to get all of our notifications.
Up before the sun every single day, he gave me a home and gave me my name. He sang Robert Earl and sweet baby James. Yeah, he built a life on Amazing Grace. I was born to break every single rule, with a reckless heart, sometimes a fool. I was hell to raise, but he kept his cool. Showed me love will always follow through. I can see it all in his weathered eyes, full of strength and love and sacrifice. Oh, I've spent my days living on the run, but now I know it, I'm my father's son. Got a steady job, he's a steady man, and over 30 years with a wedding band. Bet a wild child wasn't in his plans, but every part of him's a part of who I am. I can see it all in his weathered eyes, full of strength and love and sacrifice. Oh, I've spent my days living on the run, but now I know it, I'm my father's son.
Up.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Desktops are up. You guys give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear Mallory and myself. That would be great.
Hello.
So tonight we're going to be using some new software again. This is Google Meet, and Mallory's on that side of things. And I'm on my traditional Streamlabs. So great to see everybody tonight, and we are going to have a very well-informed, packed video tonight about how to get your stuff ready to produce the way you want them to. So get you the most fruit out of that plant. No sound, Mark. What? You're kidding me. And I'm on my traditional. There it is. It should come up. I can hear it on Sybil. I can hear it on YouTube side, so I can crank her up a little bit, but then I'll blow everybody's.
I can hear you from my side, but my YouTube is muted, so.
Yep. I could hear it. I played a little bit. So I don't know why, Sybil, you can't hear it. It should be coming in. There. Okay, she's got it. All right. So, so tonight we're going to talk about them plants and how we can make them produce more vegetables for us. So tonight we're going to have Mallory's going to talk to you of how to prune. I'm going to show you how to prune because we got a bunch of different vegetables that need to be pruned. So we're going to show you what we do to prune them to get them ready to go out into the boxes.
Yep.
So
Here, I'm just going to open up my YouTube on my phone because when I look at my screen, it's lagged. So I want to be able to share it at the same time. Let me see if my phone will give it to me live.
I hope there's no echo, Nicole. If you guys are waiting here, if you guys can do me a huge favor, I've been gone for a whole long time. Been pretty busy, and you'll see that. You guys can share this out. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and share it out on your social medias. That would be great and appreciated. Wow.
Yeah, well, Mark, I'm not going to be able to follow you live because on both of my screens, on YouTube and on my phone, I cannot see you live.
Really? For a long time. Been pretty busy, and you'll see that. I hear two voices, so there's an echo coming from somewhere.
I'd have to look at maybe my boyfriend's phone, but he's using it right now. I don't know why. there's just a little lag there, so I'm not even able to see. Like, I see you really lagged on the YouTube side, so I won't be able to follow exactly what you're doing. But I could just go ahead and explain it blindly.
Yeah, we gotta find out why we got such a lag and an echo here. That's retarded. If I gotta go to Streamlabs, I will. Hey, you guys still here? You guys still hear an echo?
Hey, Trav. Hey, Nicole.
Colin, good to see you.
Hey, Brian.
Wow, it is really lagging compared to what we're talking. And Nicole says Denmark, no problem.
Yeah, it's at least like a 30-second lag there.
Who's running with a CC on? That would be Mallory. There, I'll shut that off. Echo.
There was echo when I first popped in, Cliff says.
That
Is it from both of our sides?
I'll turn down your side, and then I'll turn my side up here for the desktop audio. Is that better, you guys? I can hear some echo. Well, that really... We're using a new software from Google, so that might explain something. I got a new laptop finally. Colin, cool. Weird.
Yeah. Well, if the sound is better, we could just go and, you know, I'll explain it blindly. I mean, I know pretty much what I'm talking about, but we have different methods, which is pretty cool.
Well, guys, what we can do is I'm going to flip over here and I'm going to let Mel talk about exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Cliff says there's echo only on my side.
All right, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna send you a Streamlabs link. The only problem is it's going to you're gonna see all the Streamlabs in my studio and everything on there because I'm sharing the screen over.
Well, it's better than this, so.
Yeah. Technical difficulties, gotta love them. Hang on, guys, we'll be there in a second. All right, Mallory, I sent it in your Facebook there.
All right, I'm gonna get out of the meet, okay?
Yeah. Oh. Okay, let's get her on full screen.
Hello.
There she is on full screen, and now I'll fix it so that she's big.
Still got bad hair day, people.
What?
Yeah, my hair is like way... I guess it's not that bad. I haven't seen a hairdresser in like 6 months. So how's the audio? Is it better?
It should be. Let's do this now. So now I'm going to flip that over to the pruning table. And bring up the live and...
Echo back, David says.
Echo is back. Really?
Is it only still from my side? It's
How about that now? Can you guys still hear her and hear me talking at the same time?
hello, hello. I am talking.
I am talking. Echo back.
Let's see. See, Colin says no echo now, and then there's echo back, and Mark is loud now. Nicole says no.
All right, so there I turned me down. Can you guys hear Mallory? No.
Hello. It's me. Darn echo only on Mal, Trav says.
That is so weird. I don't know why. All right, so there I turned me down. Can you guys hear Mallory? No.
You're louder, Mark. Mallory is quieter than you are, Mark. Yes.
All right, I turned.
Hello. I'm trying to talk at the same time as you. So I can hear it.
All right, let's see how that works. Can you guys hear Mallory now? Is she still echoing? Echoing.
Turn Mallory up, Colin says. Nicole says, I think we're just all being picky.
You gotta have a perfect stream. I think I'm the pickiest of the bunch.
Yeah, coming from a girl who edited our whole 2-hour live stream for audio issues.
Yeah, it could be too that I'm just rusty.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Well, that is so and good to meet you, David Outdoors. I heard you came from Mal's channel. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, glad you came, David. Meet some new friends that I've made over the past few months.
Let's see if I got another audio in here somewhere that I'm not supposed to have. Oh.
David says no echo. Colin says perfect.
All right, I like that.
Perfect is pretty darn good.
Okay, that's good. So you guys can hear Mal good? Because she's going to be explaining a lot of stuff tonight that we're going to go through. And as we go through there and talking, I got to flip to different cameras. But you'll see me on a different side. And then she's going to be talking about what we're going to be doing here. Hey, no problem, David. That's what we do on this side of things. We include everybody in this. Well, if you can, let me see if you can show some pictures.
No audio from Mallory. What's going on, guys?
This is retarded.
Hey, Lash. Probably saw my Twitter post.
Well, if you can, let me see if you can show some pictures.
God bless Sibbles. See ya. If you guys hear me.
This is retarded.
What's going on?
I don't know. I can hear you. I can hear you. No audio from Mallory. Why are you not showing any audio?
It was working.
I can hear you now. You said God bless Sybil. I just heard it.
What? It's going on and off? And then it's perfect again. What's up with that?
We're having some really, really crappy weather. To tell you the truth, I was thinking at 7:30 when Moon asked me, "Are you gonna go live because of the weather?" And I was thinking, you know what? But we're gonna try it. We're gonna see what happens. I'm not gonna be able to. Wait a minute. I'll use my phone to read text on the chat.
Nicole says her phone is up as loud as she can, and she can hardly hear us.
Really?
And then Lash says she is back, so there are issues, sound issues, guys. I'm so sorry about that.
You guys turn your YouTube up. I got us. Well, I can crank us up some more. You're pegging when you're talking.
Yeah.
All right, Mel, try talking normal now.
Yep, I'm talking. I'm here.
Uh-oh.
And still here.
You guys turn your YouTube up. I got us. Well, I can crank us up some more.
Do you have an air plug that is
you're pegging when you're talking.
half plugged in? Yeah.
All right, Mel, try talking normal now. I can hear you just fine on YouTube side, but that's the difference. I'm in a studio with audio speakers.
Yeah, and usually my mic is pretty.
Yeah,
pretty calm.
Everybody says you're good now. Okay.
That's so weird.
So Mallory, we're gonna switch over to the other cameras, and we're gonna start. Oh, there, my phone just said we have a problem with YouTube. Really? You gotta be kidding me. Yep.
So YouTube's being weird with you again.
Let's go to settings here, and I'll shut my Wi-Fi off.
And David said, they all say it's all good now. Don't change a thing.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna try this again. I just think it's
I want to play in the garden all day, and I am probably gonna hurt big time tomorrow because I have got something pretty incredible going on in my gardens. I am starting out a permaculture rock garden style mixed up with a whole bunch of inspirational types of gardening. So inspired by a whole bunch of types of gardening. So it's all mixed together. Getting a perennial garden in there. And Mark was telling me that he was going to prune down some peppers and show you guys how he makes them into more bushier plants. And so that instead of having them stick up and then they produce on the top, then, he will prune them down and have them bush out so that it'll produce a little bit more peppers. So I don't know if the YouTube's still being weird, but that's what we wanted to show you guys.
I can't show you. The only thing that it's showing me right now is that I can't see the chat. So you're going to have to watch the chat because it will not let me connect to YouTube on my phone to see the chat.
All right.
My phone keeps saying I'm offline when I know I'm online.
Hey, Blake.
Good to see you, Blake. How's it going, buddy? Well, everything is working as far as what we got here. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to switch over, and if you guys have any kind of questions or ask, Mal can read the chat. Yeah, my phone ain't working. We're just going to switch over, and I'm going to go grab a scissors, and we're going to start pruning.
All right. So he, on the screen, I don't see him live, so it's lagged a few seconds. So I'm going to do my best to follow him and explain. We have two different techniques. That's what's pretty cool about gardening is that there are so many methods, and there's, they all work. So just some of them just have a better production. Some of them
You know, there's just so many things that you can do with pepper plants, with tomato plants that are different from. Nobody has the right perfect method. They all work, really. Sorry to hear that your peppers didn't come up, Cliff. I don't know if it's because your seeds were maybe too old or maybe they were too fresh. I don't know. Did you get them from a store bought pepper, or did you get them from a seed packet?
Can you hear me, Mal? Can you see me?
Yep.
They also can be ground temperature for pepper plants have to be 80, 85 degrees in order to germinate. So they got to be at a steady temperature for that long for 7 to 21 days.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we have what we call here some rebels is how I look at it. Like this guy right now is my zucchini plant, and as you can see, he wants to. Here's a flower, so they want a flower already, and they're in the house yet, and we need to get rid of that. So Mal, can you explain to them why we want to get rid of that and how we're going to do that?
All right. So the zucchini is something that usually I start 2 to 3 weeks before planting outside. They like hot temperature, and if you start them a little bit too early, it's not that big of a deal. It's just that the flowers take up too much of the energy of the plant, and so if you want to cut them down so that the roots will set good. And also when you transplant the zucchini, if you have the flowers on them, it has a harder time getting installed in the new ground. And so zucchini are pretty easy to grow. Honestly, I usually just plant a few of them indoors a couple weeks before going outside, and then when I transplant my zucchinis outside, I will plant from seed some new ones in the ground the same time I transplant. So that way I have a succession, and I'm able to have a harvest for a longer time.
If you
There are a
guys,
few varieties that you can look into. I don't know if, like, for your guys' climate, Mark, what kind of zucchini did you plant?
these are just hybrids. They're just normal zucchini. If you guys are wondering why I'm cutting these at an angle, is because a little mouse told me that we don't want the water and the bacteria to get back into that, because then they'll start to rot. So we're going to cut them off kind of at an angle to stop the water from getting in there. And these little ones that are really close to the base, I can't actually get the scissors in there. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to pluck them off.
There you go.
And I mean, there's a lot on this one already. So we're going to
I think they're really good.
Yeah. And the reason why I start them early is because we like early zucchini. I like to cook them on the grill. You guys, I got recipes out for that. You guys can see that. Another thing that you can do with zucchini is you can make actually boats out of them. You cut them in half. You cut the seeds out of them, and then you can fill them up with spaghetti. You can make a pizza out of them. Kids love it, and there's so many different ways that you can make zucchini. So they're one of those must plants to have in the garden.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I make zucchini bread. I make a zucchini spaghetti. I will literally get like a spaghetti maker sort of thing that it turns and it makes the spaghetti out of them. It's so yummy.
And I don't know if it's this one or if it's squash, but Moon she uses pumpkin spice and adds that to the bread. And it's just like having that wonderful pumpkin spice bread, and it's delicious. So zucchini has, don't be afraid to bake with it, cook with it, fry it up fresh. We'll actually get them when they're little, and I'll use that for stir fries. So there's so many different things with a zucchini plant. That's why I really like to get them big and producing so that I can get my vegetables quick.
Yeah. Some people have a hard time with the squash bug and the cucumber beetles. So I don't know, depending on your climate and what kind of bugs you have, you might want to get like a little insect net, and you put them on when you transplant them in the garden. And as soon as it it starts to flower, then you remove that netting so that the pollinators can come in and pollinate. And at that point, it's set, and it should be able to take care of the beetles and the pests. It's going to be good on its own.
So here is one of the ones I transplanted. He started out really small, and what happens with, as you can see over there, same thing over here. When you get these in these 3-packs, or actually I think they're 9-packs. If you see these, well, if you don't rotate these around, and you'll get 1 or 2 of them in the center that won't want to grow up because they're too small and they're hidden underneath the canopy of all the plants. And what's cool about pepper plants is they're called a friendship plant. They need each other, and they do better when they're close with each other. They're kind of that touchy-feely plant. It's a weird thing that I haven't totally figured out yet, but they like that. But the problem is when you start them out, if you got one here in the center that's just two, like this one here's got 2 plants in it, and if you see, they're exactly the same size. Now one of these has to come out of here because I can't have, this one's got 2, and if I look over here, this guy's got 2. So we're gonna remove one of them before it gets so bad that I don't want to shock them, and then we're gonna have a problem. But today we're gonna prune them. And what we do, I don't know. Now Mallory talks about she prunes hers when they're in the garden.
Yep.
And what I like to do is not counting your starter leaves. Now these are your immature leaves. These are the leaves that start on the plant when it first pops out of the ground. So don't count those. But you've got 2, 4, 6, 7. Now if you look at the very top here, there's a lot more coming in here. So what's this plant doing is it's just trying to go up. It's shooting up to the top. And what I want to do is I'm just going to come in here and I want to cut this top off. Because what it's going to do is it's going to stop it from going upwards and work on going outwards. So now what will happen here is these individual little, the corners here will get suckers like tomato plants, and it'll start a new branch. And what's cool about doing this inside like this is that you'll have new stock shooting out there between 7 to 10 days. It don't take long at all.
Sort of like this here. You know, like I cut off the top of my basil here. It's the same concept. It'll shoot out 2 branches, and then from there, it'll shoot out, like once the top will get higher, I'll chop it off and I'll make 2 other branches. So it's a little bit of the same concept here.
Well, here's 2. These are the jalapenos. And all pepper plants are actually really close to being the same. Even if it's a hot family or anything as far as what they do, it's the same. So don't worry about, oh, this one's going to do this and this one's going to do that. Nope, that don't work that way. This one's got 3 of them in there.
Cliff says, you've seen my plants, Mallory, they're getting huge already. They are.
That's awesome, Cliff. All right, so those ones are topped, and we're just gonna keep going through these, and then we're gonna work on our tomatoes because we got issues with some tomatoes too. So I'm gonna.
Right. Laj has a question here. He says, how far apart do you suggest planting my peppers? So I'll let Mark answer his answer, and I'll tell you mine after. It's different.
It depends on what you're doing. If you're doing block planting or square foot planting is the other term for it. We use the back-to-Eden method with a square foot planting. And I found out in my area that my plants that are touching each other, my pepper plants, do so much better. But at first I will move them out about between 6 to 12 inches apart from each other, because as they grow up and get bigger and bushier like these will do, that gives them a little bit more room. So when I start them all little, they're about 12 inches apart, and then they'll bush into each other, but I want them to touch each other so that they have that closeness, because for some reason they do like it.
Okay, yeah, see, I plant them on a 30-inch row, and I get 2 rows of peppers, and I space them 1 foot apart, and then I trellis them. So I have like 2 rows of peppers on a 30-inch bed, and I will trellis twice and have a string with some posts in there, and that's how I do it. And then I prune them 3 to 4 weeks after I get them in the garden. And peppers are one plant that you do not want to stress out too fast. You want them to have like a perfect temperature the whole way through, from the indoors to the how do you call that? The transition from the indoors to the outdoors.
We call it hardening off.
Yeah, hardening off. So from the indoors hardening off to outside, you want to make sure that it doesn't have like a temperature shock, because it will slow down and stunt their growth for 2 weeks and then start over. So you really got to be careful with your peppers for the temperature wise.
Yeah,
and they are heavy feeders, very heavy feeders.
Peppers they have a hard time, especially in a cooler environment. They do have a hard time getting what I would call hardening off. So, and the thing of it is don't worry if you take your plants outside. What I start to do is I'll do a couple hours at a time and take them out there. If you see them that they're wilted, they're upside down, you got to remember that the winds come in here and they beat on these things. Like right now, these things don't have a problem, but you go outside, the sun is hot, it's not used to these are close to that, but not exactly. The temperature's controlled in here, so they have a hard time going back and forth. So like Mel said, be careful with your pepper plants. Tomato plants are actually the same way. You got to be careful with those. But what I want to show you guys is, if you guys can see this one here, this one by its own already has a sucker sitting on there, and this leaf is already starting on that very edge of that corner, and he did that without me even pruning. Your plants like to be pruned, so don't be afraid to get in there and do some pruning. And let me tell you, it makes a huge difference of a prune plant versus one that's not.
I'm going to do the test. I'm going to compare my 2 methods this summer. I'm going to try yours and I'm going to try mine.
Okay, that'd be cool. See, this one's got...
Hello to Truth Freeze and Heaven's Essentials. They just popped in on my chat here.
Good to see you, Truth. It's been a long time. Truth is from our side of things. So we're just going to sit here. We're going to keep on cutting these back, but like I said, I got a lot of them.
Yeah, Colin says we have high winds here at least a few times a week. Believe me, I do too.
So here's a question for you, Mallory.
Yep.
Okay, if you look at this plant, it does not, the top one is this one here, and it goes all the way down here to almost the center of the stem. I'm not going to prune this one, because if you look at how it's got like 2 main stalks coming off of this one, so I think I'm going to see what this one's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like in a Y.
Yeah, it's like a Y, yep.
There you go. Huh.
And if you see...
It almost looks like there's 2 plants. It almost looks like there's 2 plants that got seeded in there.
Here's another. This one here's actually got 2 plants. But this guy here actually has a top on him, so we're going to take that one off. And this one has a top on him, so we're going to take him off. So now these are all snipped off.
Heaven's Essential says, I was just starting at my peppers in the garden, thinking about my peppers being close to each other. With a little funny face.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of when I first learned about it, I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. And then I tried it out, and I'm like, if you go check some of my videos back, like Mal saw the one with my squash, and I have some of my peppers sitting on the side there. They're just humongous. They're one of those weird plants that are touchy-feely, I guess.
Yeah. What about in the garden now, Mark? What zone are you in?
What?
What zone are you in?
We are in, was it 4?
Okay, yeah, so you're really near me.
Yeah.
I'm zone 3.
Yeah,
So like I'm in like one of the coldest ones.
yeah, we're in zone 4. So we have to really, this is the reason why I do this stuff inside. And this guy here, I'm just gonna, cause he's, like I said, the canopy of these got so tall, he's stunted. So I'm going to actually just leave him alone and let him grow a little bit bigger before I cut him, because he's only got 2, 4, 6 leaves on there. Yeah, we're not, our weather is pretty much the same. I think you guys actually get warmer because we don't see 100-degree temperatures at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never, since I lived in Wisconsin, I've never seen in my part here in the northern hemisphere, I've never seen 100. The highest that we've gotten is probably in the low 90s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we hit that 100. That's 40 degrees Celsius. We get those not on the thermometer but felt, because it's really, really humid here.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we have a really big heat wave, it's like it gets up to 30 degrees Celsius, but we can feel 45 degrees, which is past 100. So it's not really on the thermometer, but like everybody feels it, like it's crazy hot.
And
No, actually, I've seen 38, so it's really, really, really close to 100 degrees on the thermometer.
guys, remember too, if you're growing hot peppers, which if anybody knows my channel, it's all about the heat. The hotter it is, the drier it is, the hotter the pepper is. And peppers, even though they're hungry, they like things, the drier the environment, that hotter that pepper is going to become. Now that goes different for the sweet peppers. There's more juice in there, there's more flavor, they're bigger, there's more meat on there. They need more water. But if you're dealing with real hot peppers, they like it dry. But as you can see here, it's moist to the touch, but it's not like bone dry. There's some water there for him because he's in the house. But if you guys are looking for, like, if you got the like over here, we have some cayenne peppers that are just starting to pop up. If you're looking at the Reapers, the Carolina Reapers, ghost peppers, anything like that, jalapenos. If you want that jalapeno to really knock your socks off and give you that bite, give it a little bit of more heat, a little bit of drying. And one of the things that we had to learn up here was that I don't have that, so I got to use canopies, I got to use hoop houses, I got to do some ways to radiate that heat in there, but still at the same time I don't want to fry them, and I still want them to breathe, but I got to have that temperature in there. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about why that is, Mel, that you got to have them so hot?
Well, I'm not sure if you mean for the temperature.
Yeah, why do hot peppers want it so hot and dry? Do you know why?
I don't know.
Huh.
I really don't.
So this flat here has been pruned, and as you can see, I just put it back in my soil here, just so that it'll turn back into compost. And the other thing that we got to work on is these guys. As you can see, they're beefy, but at the same time, you know, it's not time for them to go out yet. So we're gonna add a little bit of soil in here around its stem, just to give it some support, like so.
Yes, tomatoes. They look really good compared to mine.
There. And then you have, you know, they're happy, and he doesn't have any suckers coming out of them yet, but they're only a couple weeks old, so they're going to, but like I said, we got a bunch of them that are leaner, so.
So tomatoes, you have two kinds. You have indeterminate and you have determinate. The determinate ones get up to about, I don't know, how tall for you guys? 4 feet maybe?
Mine?
Yeah?
Mine will get 6 to 8 feet.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if you were telling me that earlier, because I've never seen a tomato determinate plant get up to 8 feet. I've only seen them get up to like maximum 5 feet. The other ones that get like up to 10 feet are the indeterminate ones, and those are the ones that will prolong your season because they will produce sometimes earlier and they will produce later if you get them in a good environment, like in a tunnel or something like that, or a greenhouse. But the determinate ones will produce all their fruit and set all their fruit at the same time, which is really good for a colder climate like us because usually they will produce in between, like in the 70-day range, 75-day range. And so that's what I look for a lot in my tomatoes since I have a really short growing season.
And mine are indeterminate, but what I do is I cut the top of the head off.
Yeah.
And what happens to then is when you say, okay, tomato, you're done growing up, as soon as you cut the head off, the tomato then concentrates on fruiting.
Yeah.
And that's the key to it. You get it is like we'll have, you can easily have 30, 40, 60 tomatoes on this plant, but it's concentrating on going up. So you got to find where that fine line is where you know that you have, like Mallory said, with your growing season. I know around here most people will cut theirs off at the last month or about a month and a half before the season is going to be over with to let them fruit out and ripen. So you have to make that judgment call. If you got a nice environment where you got that long time and that hot, and you put an indeterminate in there, you can easily get 8 feet tall on these guys, and they'll just produce and produce and produce. But if it gets in a colder environment like that, you want to just cut the head off, and it'll turn everything around, and it'll start to take all its energy towards the roots and to the fruit where you want it.
Foxes says, I can't find a StreamYard link to join, which is sad. What I was going to say for the tomatoes, there's also a way to prune them to get a maximum yield. For the indeterminate ones, you can leave a sucker on the bottom, so you can have 2 stems going up. And that one tomato plant will like make 2 tomato plants. And since they're like a vine, they're vines pretty much, the indeterminate tomatoes. And so that's what I do. I leave a sucker on in the beginning, and then from there I remove all the suckers.
So what she's talking about is each one of these V's right here, you'll have a sucker that'll pop out right here in the crevice of here. So if you leave, like what we do, because we're on cattle panels, all my leaves for the first 2 feet of the plant is gone. So as they grow up and they start to get interweaved into the cattle panel, I'll start removing the leaves from the bottom. But what I like to do is when it first starts at that 2 foot line of that cattle panel is where I'll leave that sucker come in, and then he'll branch off and he'll make a new plant. And then I'll cut, like she said, I'll take all the rest of them off. And if you don't watch them, you could go out there one day and there's no suckers. You go out there the next day, they're there. They grow quick.
Yeah, I dedicate 1 day a week to taking off suckers on my tomatoes. Like I say, okay, Monday is my tomato day because it can get so out of control so fast.
Here's one of our, this guy here. These guys are little besides my pumpkins. Now these are actually pie pumpkins. And we're gonna have my little helper here. Hunter, you want to fill us up? These are getting dry.
Mark, there was a question for you. David Outdoor 74 says, Mark, do you pick flowers off the tomatoes?
I do, if I figure that I got enough time. I will pick a few off here and there if I think that I have enough time, because then it's going to put more power into the plant. But if you're getting into like July, in the middle of July, and you're just starting to flower, then I wouldn't, because then you can actually, if you take a tomato plant, and let's say this guy's full of flowers, and this is your big tomato plant, and you just go like this to it, does 2 things to it. It helps to fertilize your other plants, because all you got to do is knock it around. So if you guys haven't noticed, our bee population, thanks buddy, is down low, but at the same time it helps to strengthen them. But I don't like pulling, if I start to see flowers earlier than in the June area, then I will, because I want to put more power into the plant.
Yeah, I do pretty much the same. Tyler Wood Bushcraft is in the house.
Hey buddy, how's it going? You caught me playing with my plants. They're not the good plants that everybody else has. These are actually fruit plants, guys. They're not the other plants. So this...
A little bit, I've been behind.
So this is actually, if you guys don't know this, but pumpkin is very good for a cancer fighter. It has a lot of attributes to help fight cancer. So this is more of your pumpkin pies. They're not really big, but they produce a lot. And these seeds I got from Mimsy Garden. So that's what these guys are. And they look how nice and dark they are. They're just so dark green.
Yeah, these plants really do look good. My tomatoes are in my greenhouse right now that's unheated, but it's like actually right next to me right here. I open this door and that's my greenhouse. And I turn on my fan of my oven and the heat of the house goes in there, and that's the only heat that there is. So they're getting a little bit hardened off pretty pretty intensely, but I do that every year, and they always bounce back up. Alright, let's see in the chat.
You might want to talk about the lights that we use, the T98s, because they are different compared to, I would say, your normal grow lights. Huh?
Yeah, like the sun blasters.
Yeah.
Alright, so like in back of me, I have 2 sun blasters. See, I'm going to point. Oh, you can't even see on your screen. You don't even see my lights on the
Can
YouTube live.
Can you see mine?
Yeah, I do see yours. So these ones here, we noticed, Mark and I, that we have the same lights, and they seriously blow my mind. They have 4 fluorescents in there instead of having 2. Like I have another setup with 2 fluorescents, but they're separated, which is cool for like seed starting. But if you want them to really like bloom and have that growing effect, then these ones that Mark has right behind him and that I have right behind me, which you can't see on the screen, they are awesome. They create a whole bunch of heat, like clip. If you want to start your peppers, I started them underneath that, and they sprouted like in 5 days. So
It does help too that all my plants, there's different stages. If you guys don't see it here, there is actually heat. There's pads underneath here that will also help to heat up the plants with the lights. So the heat from the top and from going underneath helps germination. But what's really cool is these actually it keeps this room right about 70, 75 degrees. And with the mats to help the peppers, I can get up to that 80, 85. And it's actually too warm to even have the sweater on in here. And it's just running off them lights. And these T8 lights are cool to have because, as you can see, they're the only ones that I've ever used, because I got another set that are behind me that I use for my microgreens, but my flowers will not, or my plants will not flower if they're over there, but they will underneath these labs.
yeah, they're really good blooming lights. I wanted to add something. Instead of having a heating pad, I found that when I water my seedlings, I don't use cold water. I use warm water.
Yep.
And that helps keep that temperature, because water is like a really good thermomass. And when you put it underneath the water, it sort of stays the light, it stays warm. So, and that's another trick that I got for like my peppers, but maybe I can help you out.
Yeah, you don't want to shock them, because if you put cold water in there, and they're warm, it's just going to shock them, just like if you would take them outside. So you want to keep, if your room and especially for seedlings on pepper plants, I would try to get my water between 70, 75 degrees. I know that in here it's 70, 75 degrees, so everything is the same, so I don't freak them out.
Yeah. Truth Free says, and for pumpkin seeds, they're also a natural dewormer, which is true. I give all my pumpkins, like my seeds and stuff from like the Halloween pumpkins, to my horses in the fall, and they just love it. And I use also another natural dewormer, but it's been working pretty good for me.
Wow, I'm probably been really good at getting dewormed then, because I love pumpkin seeds.
David says, I'm going to plant 1,000 pumpkins then.
I'll tell you, there's so many things out there that you can go online and check out on Google for anti-cancer, anti anything. What I like about this method and what Mal's doing on her side of things with her method is that when you grow that, there are vitamins and minerals that are in the ground, the plant takes up and it puts it in the fruit, which then again you get into your body. If you're doing hydroponic and stuff like that, it's a quick, fast way to produce vegetables, yes, but is it getting the minerals and nutrition that it needs to get back to you? That's the question, and I've got a lot of studies that say yay and nay on that. So when you go and you buy a vegetable from the local grocery store and it doesn't quite have any flavor to it, or it just might taste like a tomato, or it just might taste like a sweet pepper, but you put one of these that are in dirt, good soil, it's got the nutrition in the ground, and you bite into that, I'll tell you what, you got the flavor just popping. It's really a different.
And they're also very nutrient dense when you grow them in really good living soil at home. Just like if you compare them to farmer eggs. You eat 2 farmer eggs, you'll be full. You eat 3 to 4 eggs from the store, you won't be full. It's the same thing with like eating carrots from the garden that you grew in really good soil. For me, like I go out with the girls in the garden, and we will go eat breakfast in the garden, literally.
So here's really 2 good important plants if you don't like to use insecticides and stuff like that. The first one is marigolds. That's what you see here. Besides Coda's big head in the way, or Apollo. Come on.
I don't see it actually because my StreamYard is in your face. Actually, I don't see your face,
Really?
Mark. Yeah.
Hope it ain't screwing up. So nasturtiums and marigolds are 2. Well, he just bumped my camera. Is 2 of the flowers. Nasturtiums here you can eat, and they have a really strong peppery taste to them. You can eat the flower, you can eat the leaves, and they're good to keep out pests. So like your moles, mice, anything like that. These are a good way to keep them out. And then your marigolds will be for your bugs, because for some reason the smell, and also helps to keep deer away too. These are another good way to keep critters and animals out of your garden.
And then nasturtiums, that's what you call them in English, right?
Nasturtiums.
Nasturtiums, okay. In French, it's capucines. They really like the wetlands as well. So if you have like a wet patch in your yard that you don't know what to do with, plant some of those in there.
Wow, that is really, really weird. Because now I'm back over here, and we're going to switch over. There we go. We lost our picture though. I just saw the lights flash. Alright guys. Hey, Dennis, Canoe Hauling Adventures. Hello, how's it going?
Hey Mark, you were talking about the store-bought plants.
Yep.
And you got to be careful when you're getting these plants to make sure that you're getting them from a reputable source. Like I know where I go, like when I go buy some seedlings, they will grow it without Miracle Grow and all those chemicals and stuff. So what Mark was talking to me about earlier is a product, because
I will go get it.
Are really dependent. They are like you said, they're crack addicts. They are drug addicts when you get them. So I'll let Mark maybe go ahead and explain the product. Mark. Okay, I think his mic is probably off. He's gonna go get it. But yeah, so that's what happens is that when you buy them from the store and they're so used to getting that boost, and because you know you get them, they're so beautiful when they're blooming, you go to put them in the ground, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I need my drugs, you know. So
They're like miniature crackheads.
yeah,
See, all our seeds, we buy seeds. I don't buy any plants from the store. But what Mal was talking about is I did find, and because the green screen is going to screw it up. This is from a certain person. I won't mention any names, but you can read the bottle on the top and you can see it. And what it is it's called Quick Start. The only reason why that I have this is because there is a period in time which we call shock to a plant, for when it goes from the pot that you grow it in to when it goes in the garden. And this came from a guy from England that I watched, because up there their allotments are beautiful. They have some really cool ways of growing. He uses this just to stop the shock, so that plant doesn't go in the shock. It still is able to cross between coming out of a little container to the ground, and it's happy. That's the only time he uses it, because I think while I was out, Mal told you what this will do. This is like crack cocaine to a plant. And once you take them off of it, they will drop and they will not produce. They'll cut right off because they become dependent on this stuff.
yep.
But what I will do, I think this is the same stuff that you use. This is the mix that I use. It's all organic. It's called Pro Mix. I've used this for years and years and years for starting my plants. And it is wonderful stuff. It has compost material in it, little bits of sticks and stuff like that. And it makes the plants like you just saw. This is what we use on all our starter plants. And I actually get it in cubic bricks, but then I found one here because those are actually compact. And then if they sit around, they just become unbelievably hard to moisten and get back to what you saw. You got to just fill them up with water and let it sit for a day to let it soak in. Where this is loose and really nice. But this is a very good soil to start with. Apollo, go lay down.
I got Tyler Rodriguez.
Fail.
What's up?
You go and hang on, I gotta go put this dog out.
Okay. Yes, I use, like you said, the cubic, the compressed ones, and I don't have a problem with it. I guess I get it fresh. I've never had that problem, so I just really like it because for the price, it's a lot better. You get a lot more bang for your buck, and I do lots of planting and stuff, so.
Okay, so I got rid of that problem, the dog. So do you guys have any questions as far as soil? You guys you can make your own soil. If you have compost, you can do it that way. Mallory and myself, I use my chickens. My chickens are my compost trailer. They do all the work for me. But you can use horse manure.
Yeah.
Rabbit is really good, and you can use it right away.
There's a Howie from Food Forest Permaculture. He's actually got a really good information on his channel for soil building and soil banks, which is something that I'm working on here this summer. I got a really big soil bank, Howie. It's coming along really nice.
Hey, Howie, good to see you. Yeah, I actually learned a lot about permaculture, back to Eden method I learned, and Howie has a whole bunch of stuff out there that'll show you guys exactly what you need to do.
Yeah. So I saw something up here about burning basil here. I read on Facebook that if you burn sage and basil in the campfire and keep mosquitoes away, don't know if it really works. That's what Blake says.
I use punkwood, Blake. I know that works. I've never tried basil. The only thing that I put basil around is I put them underneath my tomato plants because they are companion plants. So they really do, they help to keep the bugs and stuff away from the tomato. And they still do really fine underneath there, especially when I trim them off, because all the leaves are off about 2 feet, which is approximately about how high the basil gets. So basil likes to be with the tomatoes. But I never tried to burn it though.
Me either. I eat it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
A beautiful basil. I planted early, and I have like an interior herb garden, and I'm gonna probably get some more out in the garden here soon. But I love having them like inside the house too. There are a whole bunch of things that you can keep in your house, like for like these herbs. I have some like in my window that I'm gonna set up where my sink is, and so I always have them on hand. It's on a south facing wall, so I have a excellent light.
Cilantro is another good one. Mint is another really good one. We put out sage, oregano, thyme. Thyme is actually a dual purpose. It allows you to and make for cough medicine if you do make tinctures. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. They do that. There's so many different things that you can do with herbs. So.
Yep. Tyler Rodriguez says, "Wife and I are working on getting a garden set up. Good advice." Awesome. Everybody should garden.
Yeah, Dennis, I have 16 raised. Was it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? I got 10 of the raised beds, and then my main garden is 30 by 60. So.
Oh shoot. Trying to get some pictures of my garden set up today, but it's going on top of your screen. So.
Here, you just share it out.
Yeah, I was just covering my my other screen. It opened up on the wrong one.
So you can, that's one thing that's really cool is if you guys don't need the big gardens like we got. If you look at companion planting or going up, that's what we did a lot of things is because of critters getting our food. So we started going up with everything, and it changed my whole theory and thinking of gardening, because when you can grow cucumbers like this and they're hanging on panels, on cattle panels, when you can get tomatoes that are just humongous and you can't reach the top of them because they're on top of a cattle panel, and they're so don't think small and that you're in this little box. There's ways around that. You can create a really cool thing.
All right, I can share it out now. You have to accept it. So this is what I did today. I woke up this morning and I took off my black tarp, and I decided that I was gonna get my excavator out and literally tear up my garden. This was Market Gardens Rose. And I found rocks. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put them in there. So it was like the hay right there. That's how it was before. And so that's just day one of me today.
Oh, I zoomed in too much on you.
Oh.
There you go.
See, so I got a little lock key sort of garden going on here, and keyhole lock key garden. Just found a whole bunch of rocks and bricks, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I went all in. And then what happened was
her neighbor's watching her run around the excavator. What are you doing?
yeah. And then what happened was that I filmed myself with the excavator driving it, and I wasn't even in the shot. You see the excavator, but you don't even see me like for 2 seconds. I was like, did I really do it?
That's funny.
Oh, darn. Yep, and I got a few things in my greenhouse started. It's just really basic stuff. I got tomatoes. I got a whole bunch of herbs. I got some strawberries that need to be planted out pretty soon too. I had pictures. I don't know. I got my screen got taken away here. And I'm doing an experiment with tomatoes, and I'm gonna put some in the garden outside. I explained that in my rhubarb video, and I'm gonna explain it in my next tomato video on Saturday.
Good to meet you, David, and thanks for coming in, and we'll see you on the next one. And Destination Delight, good to see you, and happy Sunday night to yourself.
See you, David. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, Howie, that's what we're gonna try this year is because I can't get my soil temp above about 75 degrees because of how cold it is here. So we're gonna try that black plastic. And last year I put the compost underneath there, and I saved a whole bunch of cardboard and pulled the tape and all the markings off and stuck that underneath there. And when I went to go put these in here this spring, and these are cabbage heads, I could actually dig with my hand. I could just go in there, and that stuff was so rock hard last year you couldn't do nothing with it. So it is, and the night crawlers and worms that were coming out with it were amazing. So I'm hoping it does what it is, but at the same time, I'm a little bit worried that the black plastic is going to burn the plants. So.
Darn. I took off my black plastic today on that one part that I just showed you, and I hope it's the last time I have to take that off.
It's a pain, ain't it?
So heavy.
Yeah, that's a sad thing is that these got to come off. You put, if you're got to replenish the soil, so you're putting your compost in there, you're doing all that stuff, and then you got to put that stuff back on there to build that soil up. Because as farming and as a farmer myself, it was really hard for me to get past the point of no tilling and how it destroys your soil and how it kills the microorganisms and the fungi that's in that soil. So the more that you dig that up, the more that you're killing your soil. So it was hard coming from a farm boy to understand that when you drop the plow and you just go, it's not really a good thing.
Yeah. It was really hard for me to dig through that with the excavator today, but I was like, this is the last time I'm doing this. It's going to be set. I'm not going to touch it again. And there was still a lot of earthworms and a lot of life in that part, but it'll get back there. It'll get back.
If you guys could think about it, and you could take a cross cut of the ground, and you could see the white fibers going through the ground, and then just the holes from the earthworms aerating the soil. It's amazing how it looks, but there's actual charts on Google. You can actually see that when you start to do that. So if you think that rototilling is a good thing, there's so many videos out there that you can go and watch. And as a farm boy myself, it was very hard to get used to not tilling. But I'm telling you what, I'm glad that I don't have to run behind a tiller. It makes my life easier. The weeding portion of it too, with going to the plastic and composting, back to Eden method, it does work. It just takes a while to get there. So like what Mal did is she built up her rows, and then what she's going to do is she'll lay the plastic down, and then you have that whole organism right there, and then put her plants in.
You know what I did actually the first year that I got here? So, actually the second year, because I had grass everywhere. So what I did was I just laid down that tarp for a full year. Mm-hmm. And I let it set, and I let everything die down for a full year. And then in springtime that year later, I took it off, and I marked my rows, and I dug up my rows, my 18-inch rows, and I flipped one piece of the sod upside down on top of my row on one side on the left, and then I took another piece and I flipped it on the right side. So I had like two rows that were up and they're raised. And so what happened was that the grass that was dying here, and then the other grass were sandwiched together, and that was decomposing and creating nutrients in the soil, and it made excellent soil. Like I didn't even have to add anything in there. Everything grew. And so that's how I did it. Turns out though that quackgrass will grow back that way. So I'm still battling that.
We are too. I mean, I took out what was really cool about the black pad. They came out, but I could pull out these stringers that were probably about this long, and you could see the sprouts where they tried to come up, and that they didn't die. And you can, I love weeds because 90% of them you can eat. So there's some kind of, like, if it's wood sorrel or purslane, any of those things that usually runs around in the garden, you can eat, and they're good for you. But quackgrass is one thing that every year I fight with it, because you'll get the big old stringers in them, and then you'll have boom, 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 and you can cut. It's like you cut the head off of if you cut the tail off a snake, it'll just grow a new one. Well, that's like quackgrass.
And it'll grow on both ends.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's like fighting a forest you never saw before.
It's a 3-year job. Like this is going to be my 3rd year on this quackgrass on like certain rows, and I'm starting to get it. It's just taking a little while, and like I can't do them all every year. So like some years I'll just be like, okay, screw those 4 rows. They're gonna wait till next year, and I'm just gonna let it grow and be wild. And then I come in and I literally rototill with my hands and flip everything over, and I'm just like trying to get it all out there. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can go in and I can dig, with my hands in the beds. But all you're doing is, like you said, you're pulling out these big old long slingers of quackgrass, and what's really funny is I'll actually go through on the raised beds. They'll find the crack in the raised bed, because you're putting the 2x12s together. They'll find the crack, they'll get through that, and then they just spread out into the beds, and it's just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. They just will not die.
They're terrible.
I call it crap grass.
I got a few names for it too when I'm out there.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. Gardening is fun though. Like Ben, I just initiated him this year, and usually he doesn't garden because he's got a really bad back, and so he's been planting out some really funky seeds that he ordered on Amazon, some cactuses and some makes your dreams more vivid plant or whatever, and.
You sure that ain't purple mushrooms?
No, it's silene or I'd have to figure it out. But it's a really medicinal plant actually, and it's supposed to be really, really beautiful. So we're gonna put that in that garden, and if you guys noticed, like I raised up this stuff really high, so that was for Ben so that it'd be easier for him to garden a little bit. So
You guys plant any bok choy or anything like that?
I didn't plant any. I had some last year, but they got eaten by the beetles right in the beginning. So yeah, they got really badly attacked.
Kind of beetles?
My bok choy and my what's the other one? Shurav. Kimchi? What is it?
Kimchi?
Called? Is that it?
We make kimchi, yeah. Yep.
It's a sort of another in the same family. The bugs, the beetles just love them. So having a hard time with those family plants.
Tyler, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
there's
also the brassicas, like the green caterpillars. I gotta battle those ones too.
the only thing that I have a problem with is that are the potato bugs, because if the farmers alongside of us plant the fields of potatoes and they spray, all those bugs come over to my garden and have a heyday.
Darn. Yeah. I picked my fair amount last year too. There's a new person in the chat here, Sleaze Steaks Rule. Hi there.
Hey, Sleaze, thanks for coming. If you're friends of Howie, good to see you. I gotta change my picture over here because I'm sick of this one. I started with the back to Eden garden and then the square foot planting and the permaculture, and I think my garden has like 4 or 5, even more than that, different types of gardening methods, because some areas this one will do better in this one and this one will do better over here. So we kind of use different styles and different methods for different things. So
yeah, it's like me, same here. Last year I did a garden 50 by 50 Ruth Stout only for potatoes, and it worked really good, except for I have like a swampy area in that patch and those ones rotted. But other than that, like the other half was like perfectly fine. I had really big potatoes, and then I have the Ruth Stout in front that I'm trying out this year with which is just full of hay. And then I got my traditional market garden with the black tarp on the other side. I have 5 gardens that are 50 feet by 50 feet.
that's a lot of gardens.
Yeah. well, I had 10 teenagers with me and a market garden last year, so I'm gonna plant some corn this year. I'm gonna see what I can do with that.
I got from Mim's Garden. I've got some popcorn seeds that we're gonna try out, but it's a toss-up because you can't have sweet corn and popcorn because then you'll have sweet corn popcorn because they'll germinate each other. So you'll have a wacky bunch of popcorn. So
Really? So, because it's seeds.
yep.
Oh.
So you can't have like I can't have 5 rows of sweet corn and then 5 rows of popcorn because they'll germinate. They'll cross germinate with each other. So you'll have this really screwy popcorn, sweet corn kind of thing going on.
What if you put them in different gardens, like far away from each other?
I could, but the other pasture where I was actually going to put the sweet corn in, I was going to put it where I was growing the monster squashes at. That's where I was going because that's full of nitrates now. So I was going to use that and put, it's like an L shape there.
Okay.
And, but they're still going to be too close to each other. So it's either one or the other.
Darn. Because I got corn and I got popcorn, but I think I'm going to go with the
Uh-oh.
sweet corn because treated. They're not, what is it called? They got like a red coating on them.
Yeah, that's the,
Captain 3 Max Vita.
yeah, that's a starter that's on them.
I don't know. It just seems like I wouldn't trust that.
That's how we got all our corn, even when I was growing up on a farm.
Yeah. Well, that's probably how all our corn in the cans are, right?
Yep. So I just got a message from YouTube saying that our live stream, I'm not giving enough juice, and that's going to be because of the weather. But we're going on to almost a 3-hour mark here.
3 hour?
Yep, it's 9:04. Well, that's what it says here.
I got 81 minutes.
So it's telling me I got 2 hours and 41 minutes. That's when she shut off. So are we still live?
Yeah.
We are?
3-hour
Well,
mark here.
yeah, I see you still on YouTube.
I still
Lamb.
see me. Okay, well, YouTube is crying, but we'll see what happens.
I still see you on YouTube land, so I think we're good. Couldn't go to the
Crazy.
cat a little bit, see what's going on. Who is gardening here? I like the Mark's. If anybody has a garden, do 1, and if you don't, do it 2 in the chat.
There you go. Who's got a garden in here?
There's also another method, which is I've been working on for the past 2 years, is my food forest that I've been working on. I got an orchard. Actually, it's not really a food forest yet because I don't have that forest base like on the floor, forest floor. But maybe Howie can answer this. Howie, if I put cardboard down and I put hay over it, will it do the same thing as wood chips? I am really, really questioning myself because I got so much hay.
Heaven's
it's
Essentials. Good to see you, and thanks for coming here. The only problem what I did when I got hay is I'll see you got horse hay. But up here, if we have like crap hay that had thistles in there and everything else, guess what pops up the next year?
Well, you have to add on and add on. That's the thing with hay.
Yeah, all that crap that was in that bad hay that I put down,
Yeah.
it came up and I got thistles galore everywhere. So you gotta, and I put it, when I laid it in there that fall, what I did is I probably it was fluffed up though, but it was probably 12 to 16 inches.
Yeah.
And then I put the cardboard on top of that, and then I put the black plastic on top of that. So there was a bunch, but I did that right away as soon as the fall came so that the snow and the rains would come and then it would soak in and everything like that. And it seems all the hay is gone underneath the mats, so all that's left is bits and pieces of cardboard where I doubled it up.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I was really curious about that. If I could do like a food forest, because wood chips, I don't have time to go out in the forest and go with my wood chipper. I just can't do that with the kids right now. I'm just too busy. And,
It's a lot, you know. I got my wood chipper, and I thought it'd be easy doing that, and it's a lot of work.
It is.
Oh man.
It's crazy. I got a forage harvester. I don't even have a wood chipper. I have one that I hook up in back of my tractor, a 90 horsepower tractor, and it can go up to like some good 4-inch branches. But yeah, it's a lot of work.
That's what mine takes. Is I can only go up to. I think mine's a 3-inch. Can go up to a 3-inch branch. Ooh, my lights are flashing. So yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what. One of the things that you could do is go to your local, like your sawmill and stuff like that, because everybody has a debarker. And
Yeah, they're just too far.
oh yeah, I suppose for you, mine is just down the road. I got 2 mills that are either side of me,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm going to be doing is going down there and getting from their debarker because they just pile that up on the side and no one touches it for years and years and years. So I'm thinking to myself that'd be some pretty good compost material right about now.
Yeah. Well, I could probably use mine from my mill, my leftovers, and put them in the chipper. It's right next to it. It's just say, hey, you got to get the tractor out. You got to hook up the forage harvester. You still got to do it. And then go get the trailer on the other tractor so that it shoots in the trailer. It's just a lot of work.
Well, you just think about all the sawdust that your sawmill makes. You know, you can save that, use that for your chicken coops and bedding and stuff like that, and it makes it all into the same stuff, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely on the list. You got to
And
have a good place to store it, too.
the thing that I can tell you right now is, as you can see behind me, that's every year I put chip down, and every year, you know, the weeds are still coming through there. I mean, yeah, granted, it's really nice soil underneath there, but I'll tell you what, it just keeps breaking down, and it's supposed to keep the weeds coming in, but it does put the nutrients back in the box 'cause it's all around them. So when it rains, it washes into the dirt, and the plants can suck it up. So
Yeah, it's a constant. You gotta constantly put stuff over it. It's like my hay in my garden. I'm gonna constantly have to put hay on top of it forever.
I see somebody gave us a. Oh, hey Tyler, thanks you, bud. Tyler gave me a $5 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, it's so much. You know, people think that when you do gardening or when you, it's a constant thing. But let me tell you, it does get easier as the stuff sets and you set it up. And throughout the years, it does get simpler and easier. The back to Eden method, the permaculture method. I've seen people that just put bales of hay and they stick them in there and they water in the center of the hay, and they do that. So
You gotta water a lot though. That's the thing with hay. Like I much prefer planting in the ground because you don't have to water as often. No, I got some onions popping up from the ground. I took a picture to show you guys. It's a Saint Anne shallots.
Oh,
And they
scallops?
come up, yeah, and they come up every year. Here, I'm trying to share my screen here.
I have to go back over here and find you.
Yeah. These were given to me last year, and they're just starting to come up. They are just like green onions, but they come up every year. And I actually left because I was too lazy last year. I forgot to grab my green onions, and I left some onions in the garden, and they are coming back. So I'm going to probably get some seeds here this year.
Yeah, using the small,
So whoops. It's having a hard time loading that picture.
yeah. Like I said, it could be the fact that we got this weather.
Impossible to load it. This is my tomato that's hanging upside down. That's doing really beautiful. It's even starting to shoot out little buds for it to flower. It's doing real good. What else do I have here in my greenhouse?
I don't know, I got you on full screen, but it's like a little picture.
Dad,
What, bud?
how long
No,
are you
it's
gonna
not
stay
wanting to load. Okay.
What?
Yes, I got some strawberries.
I don't know.
Got some lettuce and broccoli that's going to be going out in the garden pretty soon. And these are my tomatoes that are having a real hard time with the cold.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try something on it.
Oh, because it was a small screen.
Yeah, you can barely see anything because of the fact that the screen was so small.
Yeah. Well, I'm done sharing. Unless you want me to show them again.
I'm trying to get it bigger.
I'm just gonna stick with StreamYard.
The only thing with StreamYard is that you can't do the things like we were doing.
Yeah.
That kind of.
But you know what I did the other day? I was on a video conference with my friends because we have a wino conference every week. And I took my cell phone and I joined myself with Ben's phone on my StreamYard. And then I turned off my main screen. I couldn't see the chat, but I went out to my barn. I was able to film.
Mm-hmm. I've done that too. See, the bad thing that I got rid of Zoom because I wasn't
With myself in the barn. So, with a phone.
That was weird. You just sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I
Oh,
did?
that's cool.
Yep.
Leaves. I have leaves.
Yeah, it's because of green screen. Okay, go naked boy. Yeah, you sounded like Alvin and Chipmunks because YouTube just gave me the notice again that we're not shooting enough out there because of the weather. But I do gotta find a different streaming method where I can have a panel. I mean, Zoom was good for that. We did try, obviously, Google's new Google Meet, but that didn't work out too well. I couldn't get the software to match with the audio. But I'll have to figure something. I'll do some more tests so we can.
Howie, you've been eating strawberries already. Are you kidding me?
He's picking radishes today. Well, I do got radishes coming up in the garden. They're about yay big.
Yeah.
And I got kale coming up and some garlic and a bunch of other stuff. So
You got sweet peas in the garden yet?
nope. I got so many. I've got. If you guys want to know how to do and have snap peas in your freezer fresh, no work involved. Anybody that wants to know that, let me know. Because I have a dear friend of mine, his wife told me how to preserve and store my snap peas without any work, and they are amazing. It's like pick.
I would love to know.
You have to find a 100% cotton pillowcase. You pick them off the plant. Do not wash them. Do not do anything with them. Put them in that pillowcase and stick it in your freezer. And just go and get what you want all winter long. And it's just like you cook them up. They're just like you pick them off the vine. It's unbelievable. No work. No work, no nothing. So the first thing I said, hey, can I do that with green beans too? Because they're a lot of work, and I guess you can.
Huh. Well, I freeze my green beans fresh, and I put them. It's not that bad actually. I just put them in a Ziploc bag, fresh, and I put them in the freezer. And it's not that bad.
Fox, yeah. I'll get hit from YouTube for nudity.
Hey, Kathy. North Star Prep Setter. She's in Zone 3 from Michigan.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Fox, if I go back to Zoom, it's going to go against everything I believe in. My whole house right now, Mallory, the whole house is literally shaking because of the winds out there.
Really?
And the rain is just pounding on the house.
Darn. That's a bummer. Food forest, just the berries next week. That's what I love. Rhubarb is ready. Oh yeah. Mine, the one that I transplanted in the orchard is doing phenomenal. And it's starting to sprout out, so I'll be eating some soon.
My rhubarb is about that tall already. I should go, if it wouldn't be pouring out, I'd go run out and grab some, start eating it. But yeah, I can eat that. And our blueberries are coming, and so is our gooseberries. That'll be the first thing that we can hit.
Yeah, so you're like 2 weeks ahead of me. You're a good 2 weeks ahead of me. There's still snow in my forest.
There ain't no snow here. Not even in the forest. Actually, I think the canopy, by next weekend, I think the canopy will be up, and that will end the life of the leeks, and then the nettle will be up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Not here. Ben's been searching for new life in the forest, and he only found the trout lilies so far, and they were all in flower, and he has a hard time not stepping on them. That's how much they're.
Trout lilies is all over the place.
Yeah.
Sleek, we are over on the border of Landleg and in between we're in the corner of all of them, Landleg, Marathon, and Lincoln.
I'm in Quebec, if it's not obvious enough.
Yeah, she's one of them Canadians. I can't say yacht or hey because that's from Michigan.
Yeah, I speak French. I'm a bilingual channel. I have English and French videos. And everybody here in the chat calls me Frenchie now, so. But my real nickname is Mouse.
Yep.
My dad has been calling me Mouse since I was really little. Actually, he calls me Mouse.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's because were you the smallest one in the family? Or the quietest one?
I'm the baby of 9 children, which are like all mixed up. We're a lot of. I was like my dad's 3rd marriage, and my mom was her 3rd husband. So yeah, I am the baby. I am not the smallest. My sister Mimi is the smallest, but I'm the youngest.
Yeah, I'm the youngest too, but I'm the biggest.
A Frenchie mouse. Yes, Kathy, I'm a Frenchie mouse. Just call me whatever.
Frenchie mouse. That's funny. I can't believe that name stuck with you that quick.
Yep. Well, I mean, Frenchie. All my American friends call me Frenchie, I guess. Just because I speak French. I guess it's like a go-to name. But when I was in Alaska, nobody could pronounce my last name, which is Fournier. So they would call me Fournier.
Fournier.
Yeah, and so I changed my name to Mallory Rose over there. So everybody called me Mallory Rose because that's my middle name.
Plant a grape, kiwi, honeysuckle, climbing rose, or passion vine next to any fruit tree. Your plant and acts as a natural arbor for the vines to make a canopy. Yeah. Well, that would be really cool, Howie, but I don't think I have the temperatures to grow kiwi or honeysuckle.
You know what I was thinking of doing last year, which I didn't do? I planted my pumpkins in my compost finally, but I wanted to go out in the orchard in my rows and plant my pumpkins in my rows. And so that it would do like a canopy on the ground. But I was afraid that it was going to vine up into the trees and they're still too young. So I was like, I wasn't sure enough to do it. I might try it this year.
I can't do that because the deer and all the animals will eat everything.
Yeah, I'm really lucky here. We got a lot of wildlife, but with my dog, they just don't come. And it's sort of fenced in. There's no electricity on it, but it's sort of fenced in with a wire, which moose will totally bust through it. But deer, they don't come. I don't have any garden space. I got really lucky, I guess.
See, this used to be a deer farm, so I think the deer hide away from here, but at the same time, it attracts the bears.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's what I have to deal with. And I mean, every year if it's not, next to the house or coming in right next to the house and turning on the security lights and the cameras and everything, the bear come through here in the fall and the springtime all the time. So,
yeah,
I think if I would throw food out there like that, that would just cause them more reason to come in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've been having a few spotted here, my neighbors too, and I'm such a wuss now. I can't go in the forest by myself. I went to get some bird sap, and I couldn't find the third tree that Ben had tapped, and I was like all scared. So I just went back home.
Yeah, Howie, I'm at the very edge of zone 4. We're more zone 3 than we are 4. So,
It must be like 3B maybe.
yeah.
Well, I'm 3A. 3A, yeah. So, and you're 2 weeks ahead of me, so you must be zone 4.
Let me look here.
Like, I'm technically supposed to be zone 4, but because I'm really high up in altitude, it just, like, it kills me. I was telling Ben, if we do move, we're gonna go somewhere where it's, like, zone 5. Hey, Jason and Daniel.
I am right on the line of zone 3 and zone 4. Or zone, 3 and 4. I'm right on the edge. Or actually, I'm sorry, I'm on the edge of 4 and 5. Looking at the map, 3 is up, way up on the upper part of Wisconsin, right on the Canadian line. So yeah, I probably could, because I'm right there on the edge.
Yeah. And see, the worst part is that I'm zone 3A, but I planted a whole bunch of fruit trees that were zone 3, and I was like, I'm just gonna try a zone 4 pear, and it survived. I went to my orchard, and everything survived this year, 100% success rate, which
That's
I'm really
cool.
excited about. One of them got eaten a little bit by mice, but only one.
Two of my apple trees got killed by mice this year. They actually, that and rabbits, they ate the bark right off about 2 feet up. And
Oh.
both of my cherry trees got hammered.
I actually, here, I'm going to share a picture with you. Maybe Howie knows what this is on my apple tree. Or maybe you do. Here, I'm going to share this out because I saw this today and I took a picture of it. And it's got a weird, funky look on that branch. I don't like it.
That white?
It's sort of blackish here. There's another picture. And it doesn't have it on the branches, but it has it on the stem. Oh man.
Looks like some kind of fungus.
It does. I'm thinking I might have to cut it. Oh man, it's not wanting to open here.
Before you cut it, get some natural apple cider vinegar, because that'll kill fungi.
Yeah.
And try putting that on there.
Oh, this one's blurry. Man, I'm just having a hard time sharing out that screen. Maybe my computer's causing you problems.
No, I think
But yeah.
I think it's the weather.
Yeah, see, this one we see it really well. And see on that branch on the right, like it sections off here, and then on that branch here, there's nothing. It's just really on that stem. It's got like black dots on it, and it looks like the bark wants to just fall off. I don't know.
Hey, Jason, good to see you. That is strange.
Mix clay and water and spray. Oh, wait, I have to find some clay. I don't have clay here.
Yeah, for Howie. Build owl houses and let the coyotes roam. No more mice. That's very true, but then you forget that owls like chickens. So,
Yeah, I got a really big owl here. I don't know what kind it is, but it'll open its wings and it's like way larger than our pickup. It's huge.
great horn owl? I don't know. That'd be weird.
I don't know what kind it is, but every time we see it, Ben's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so big."
Well, it's just like the first time I saw a turkey vulture. I'm like, I'm gonna go and run in the house, and I'm like, because it was sitting up in the trees and it was looking. There's 2 of them, and they're looking over the chicken yard and with my pasture. And I'm like, oh crap. So I run in the house and I grab the rifle. And I prop myself up and I'm just about ready to pull a shot off. And then my brother-in-law says, aren't them things protected because they're migrating birds? And I'm like, crap. So I was like, they were lucky because they were just about to get a 270 in the head.
No, my gosh, talking about dang birds, I've been having this woodpecker peck on my roof for the past 2 weeks and waking us up in the morning and we're just like, what are you doing? My daughter's like, stop it, please, let me sleep. And oh my gosh, like on our barn, and it's a tin roof, so it's like really intense. And then almost when I was like, wow, you really felt like shooting it too.
Got a Great Dane that thinks it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. Usually you're napping.
Oh, is that him snoring?
No, that's him growling with his chew toy, wanting to look on YouTube here, and he's got his chew toy and he's throwing it up in the air and he thinks it's time to play.
That's funny. I'm like really small on your little screen here.
Yeah, I know, it's a bad thing. Come here, Apollo. See?
Hey, Apollo. That's cool. To protect seedlings and fruit trees. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to see what I can do with that clay and water. Because I don't have clay. I'm going out to a farm tomorrow to get some sunchokes because mine all rotted. And so I'm gonna see what we have for maybe on her land.
You hear that?
Yeah.
He's like an attention getter. He just has to be. Go lay down. Go lay down.
So Colin says, just found out I'm in zone 5-8. That's a good zone.
Tyler, LOL, no comment.
I don't know what he's referring to.
Heaven's Essential, I have a Great Dane Pit Bull, and that's the one that's making all these noises here. And then we have a Black Lab German Shepherd Pit Bull. That's the other one. Yeah, Tyler, Apollo just when Tyler was here, he couldn't. His dog wouldn't leave him alone. So.
Or Howie says, balance is the key to survive in nature. Growing food is easy when you go with nature and never impose your will. The owl needs a dinner. I let him have a chicken as he kills mice. What do you do with the woodpecker? That's waking me up on my tin roof. Like, seriously, what's the use in that?
That would really be loud too on a steel roof. Ting, 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 ting. You think he'd get the hint and figure out that his beak can't go through that?
I actually read and I researched on it. They will break their beak before stopping.
Man, they were some crazy birds.
It's stupid. Yeah, I was with my farrier with my horses, and you know, horses are pretty skittish. And that woodpecker decided to go to town on my roof, on my barn. So the horse was like all going crazy. Scared the crap out of me. Oh, thank you, Kathy, for sharing my link.
Man, I wish I could get that bigger.
Thank you, Matt.
Frenchie.
Un petit peu français.
Huh?
I just said a little bit of French in a French accent. That's not really how I say it in my Quebecois accent. So what are you planting next in your garden?
We are going to be doing probably green beans. I'm just waiting for the soil temp to come up. Everything is pretty much ready to go. I already got the cabbage in. I already got most of the cold weather. I'm gonna probably do a round of the Swiss chard. Is just I seen it just starting to come up, so that can go out, and then probably do some more kale. But I'm hoping that I gotta get that soil temp up to 75 degrees before anything else. Beans won't sprout. Nothing's gonna go until it gets to that temp. So
Yeah. What's your last frost date?
March 31st.
What? What?
Yep.
I mean, what about like for tomatoes?
We will put in, everything goes in on the 31st of March. And then we've already had to cover stuff when we put stuff in at that time. Most,
in the garden, your tomatoes, when are you going to put them in?
I'll put them in on the 31st. I'm not March, May, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
May 31st is when all the stuff goes in.
Man, we get frost in June. All the way up to the 20th of June.
And there's been times already that we had to cover, you know, it'll be the first week in June and we'll have to cover because they're talking about frost or too cold. So
Yeah.
it's playing Russian roulette because I want to get them out there so they got enough time to grow because they are indeterminate and they do
Yeah.
take longer. And I want them to get to that, you know, 5, 6, 7 foot mark before I snap the tops off of them so that they start producing. But
Yeah.
it all depends on the season and what's going on. I've already had them where everything was looking really good, and then I got anrot come through, and then it's like just pulling plants because you just don't, you hope it don't get to the next one.
Yeah. I think not last year, but the year before that, I planted some tomatoes on after the full moon of May, and they survived, but they really had a hard time. They really did.
You know,
So I'm gonna wait a little bit this year. That's why I started them a little bit later, and they're really small.
it all depends on what it all depends on what we're going to do and stuff like that. But since you're so small here and we're talking about this stuff, I'm gonna, now that we're not showing pictures anymore, I'm gonna drop into here.
See my. See that?
That's your
My
onion, right?
From last year.
Last year's onion.
Yep. Doing pretty good. Got some yellow ones too.
Okay, so now, see, when I go to do that, it screws everything up. Weird. Let's go on this screen once and see what that one does.
Yeah, I guess woodpeckers are really good for killing bugs and stuff, but man, I just sometimes want to shoot it.
That is just so weird. I've never seen that before in my life. So because
my neighbor's been in confinement at his like summer house, and that's right in front of my place. And he also has it on his roof, and he's like, "What in the world?" It's been going from every building. Like, we're like, "Is it because there's bugs on the building?" I have no idea. Jason says, I might have to put a net on the top of my Barbados cherry tree. The birds will be getting to them. Hey, there's a trick for that, for apple trees and tomato plants and stuff that have red fruit. If you have like a red Christmas ornament that you put on your tree, put them on your plants. And so the birds will start pecking at that, and they will most likely not want to go peck on the red things that'll sprout out later. I've tried that with my tomatoes, and it did really good. I also have a few wild trees that produce red fruit for the fauna. Is that what we call it? The fauna? The fawn, that we call that in French, that fawn, for the wildlife. And so they eat those, and that's why I have a volunteer. I don't know what it's called, but they have like all these red fruit on them. They're really small, and they always produce before the cherries and the apples and stuff. So I let it volunteer grow in my orchard so that the birds will get to them first.
I figured it out now. Now you're bigger. So if I go over to my third screen, I made you tiny, and I don't understand why. So now you're big. Millennium
Hi,
Homesteader.
Phil. Phil, right? Yeah. Millennial Homesteaders. He's from Vancouver, BC.
Journey back to the basics.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a nice little homestead going on in Vancouver. I've been following him for a little while. Phil
That's
and
awesome.
Hannah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Cool.
So do you guys have any questions about the pruning or why we prune, anything like that? Just shoot us an email, or you can leave a message down below in the chat after this is up, and we can get back to you and try to help you out if you have any problems with those kind of plants. I know pepper plants are huge for potassium, calcium. They like that. They're big eaters. Take care, North Star. So you got to watch out for them. But if you prune them and get them stocky and get them big, then they bush out. They produce a lot more.
Yeah. But if you forget, it's not a big deal. It will produce anyways. That's what's cool about gardening, is that you just put it in the ground. Like sometimes my tomatoes, I have left them, like I'm guilty of leaving them go wild sometimes. And they produce. It's just really wild and crazy, but I mean, it worked.
Yeah, I forgot I was good for a couple months getting the suckers off, and then I just kind of let things go, and holy moly, it was a big mistake. And then the thing that it is the problem that I have is when you forget and you let them go wild, the next year you have those freebies all over where you don't want them to be, and you have hundreds and hundreds of tomato plants, and it's just like, wow. Okay, so Fox is asking what kind of variety of basil do you have?
Okay, I'm looking through my seeds right now. Okay, I have sacred basil, and I have just regular basil that.
Sweet basil?
Huh?
Just the regular basil, sweet basil?
It's because it's French. I don't know how to translate it. Like what?
Let me see a picture.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Well, that's a sacred basil.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah. We're like going full-blown medicinal and spiritual plants and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Ben's really into that. And so I'm more like into the production side, and he's like into the funky plants.
Yeah, we
I'm
got
gonna
some.
find the other basil.
There's cinnamon basil out there. There's the clover basil. What they call the Christmas basil. I've grown that. I've grown sweet basil. All different kinds.
Okay, so my basil is called. Okay, I'm gonna try to say this.
That's Genevieve.
Genovese.
Yep.
Genovese. Yeah, there you go.
That's the same stuff that we
Got a
have
whole
here.
bunch of seeds. A lot of seeds. I love basil.
Yeah, that's Genevieve.
Yeah.
The same one that I grow.
It grows really well. And it tastes really good.
Yeah, you can get a big bush out of one plant there.
Yeah.
If you snip them, and that what's another thing is cool about basil, Cliff. If you cut the tops off or cut off portions, it'll grow two out of each one. So don't be afraid to snip it off.
Yeah. See? Right here. And I plant like for my basil that I have in the house, I put 3 of them in a pot, and they grow really well together.
Companion planting.
Yep.
I should do that, but
And then I have cilantro, lots of cilantro.
oh yes, got to have cilantro.
Santos. Organic
Mm-hmm.
cilantro. I started a whole bunch of stuff. I still have like my beets. I have uh, a better yield when I transplant beets.
Really?
Yeah.
I can never get beets to grow, so I was gonna try them in the, because if the moles don't get them and chew them apart, that's why I was gonna try the plastic this year and see how they did with the plastic.
Yeah.
Or
I'm gonna
that
start this week and transplant them in after 30 days.
after 30 days, you just keep them 30 days, and then
Yeah.
30 days after they sprout, or from the time you put them in the pots.
No, like I put them in my 128 cells,
Yep.
and just about 30 days after, I will transplant them. I think it's 30 days. Let me see. I'm going my notes. But yeah, and then when you transplant them, you know, because one beet seed will give 3 beets, so I separate them from there. I take off 2 of them and I keep the nicest one, and then I pop it in the ground, and that's seriously have a really good yield with that.
I didn't know that they gave off 3 plants.
Yep.
Huh. Hey, Herbert T, how's it going?
Beets. Okay, so here's my cheat sheet. Technical sheet. Yeah, and I do 3 rows on a 30-inch bed, spaced every 5 inches, so that it creates that canopy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it goes. It's really, really.
You got them in plastic or just on the ground?
I just had them in the ground, no plastic whatsoever. I had some compost last year though.
Yeah, I was gonna try them and put them in in the plastic and let's see what happens to us.
Yeah, they do really good in compost beets. And well finished compost. Like you don't want to have that too hot stuff.
Right.
Let me see.
Flaming. Did you ever check out that Hartford article where like some kids at Yale, they did compost in 2 weeks?
No.
Yeah, they went from matter to compost in 2 weeks. They did a hot compost, and they layered it with sticks in the center of it, so that the air could move through it naturally. And they went from leaves and debris to compost in 2 weeks just by the hot compost method.
Really?
But they say that method you kill all your good bacteria and your good stuff. So then it becomes like on the scale of a neutral, more or less.
Yeah. So it's not as good.
Right.
There's this one guy, I remember on YouTube, there's this one guy that would mix beer with ammonia and what was the third thing? And he would mix that together, and he would just use grass clippings, and he would turn it once a week. And that stuff broke down so fast, and I remember he had the most amazing tomatoes. I'd have to figure out his name, but I thought it was really interesting.
I've seen guys do that with beer and then they pee on the compost pile.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't find my... Oh. I just found it, like I had to say it and I found it. For my beets.
Jason's having problems with aphids. There are a ton on my radishes and turnip leaves.
Oh no, aphids. You need to get some
Neem's
some
oil.
liquids.
I use Neem's oil like how we just put in there. I haven't tried the garlic spray, but Neem's oil works pretty good.
Yeah, like I would probably go with the neem and then try to implant some ladybugs after that. Once you have it controlled, and they'll be able to control it from there. You can buy them online. You'll get them in a little Ziploc bag and put them in your garden. I got a ton here. I'm really lucky for that. I'm having a hard time finding. This is my go-to book for my spacings and for everything. I actually won a scholarship for his course, the Master Gardener's Masterclass. It is so complete. So complete. for market gardening mostly. But man, I had such a successful growing season last year following like all his rules, like the pruning of the peppers, and that's my method that I use, and it was amazing.
See, I have a hard time following rules, but I got so many so many different methods that I use, and
Yeah,
then the thing of it is you get going and something just doesn't work, so you're winging it.
yeah. Of course, I mean, you gotta take some and you gotta leave some. But like for the most part, like just for everything, the way that he starts his seeds, and like from the pruning for what you put as amendments and stuff like that, and then from the harvesting and the washing station and then refrigerating them for to sell and everything, it's just so complete.
That's what I got to start to do is find out what I need to plant. In between your cross planting and like what we do on the farm is we put rye in there, and then we till the rye back into the ground. But since I'm not tilling anymore,
Yeah. Yeah, he has a lot of green green manure. What is it called? I don't know what it's called. I'm having such a hard time translating my English. Yeah, they get like the green crops in there,
yeah,
and
like your
it,
rye and your oats
yeah,
and barley and
I think they call it green manure.
green manure. Never heard
I
that
think
before.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it. Living Web's Farms. They have a really awesome channel with living soils and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to learn about that, this guy will, he transformed his corn crops to permaculture, and he plants all his corn on like sort of like mulch, I guess, like commercially, and he has excellent results. Living Web Farms.
Yeah,
It's
they got a
huge.
lot of like the no till and stuff like that. No,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. No chill yet. It's so interesting.
Night, Colin. Thanks for coming in here.
Night, Colin.
We'll see you in the
See
next
ya.
one.
Okay, beets. I'm gonna finally get it. I have. Yeah, so 25 days in cells. There you go.
I'll have to try that because we're just about out of beets. So
Yeah.
I know
I got it 2 times.
I gotta get them going with the rest of the stuff. So
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, it's been 2 hours and it's 10:30 here. So what time is it by you then? 11:30.
Yeah, 11:30.
I want to thank everybody for joining us and on our thing here. So you guys always take care, be safe out there. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one. What do you got to say, Mel?
Oh, thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Mark, for having me. And I love talking gardening, so I
Well,
can't wait to see how yours progresses.
we'll definitely be doing more about gardening videos and stuff like that, so people can see what's going on, what worked, what didn't work, stuff like that. So we will
Yeah.
talk to you guys all later.
All right.
Take
See you,
care.
Howie. See everybody.
Bye, guys.